What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I wanted to do an overview with you guys talking about Black Beacon. How do I feel about the game so far? I'm currently like I think level 43 in the game, so I progressed pretty far enough, and I have a lot of meta characters built. Went through most of the content in the game, so I think now I have like a good understanding as to how Black Beacon, like how the game works, and like what the future of this game is going to look like when it comes to future content, when it comes to in-game, future upcoming characters, story, etc. Now, I will say when it comes to the story, however, I didn't pay attention to the story, so we're not going to talk about that. We're going to leave that out in this overview. We're not going to talk about the story. But I have this checklist over here. I have 7 things I want to talk about in this overview with you guys. And by the way, this video is not sponsored. I didn't get sponsored. That's fine, but still want to make this video though. So we're going to talk about gacha, combat, stamina, content, side game or main game, performance, and my overall rating for the game. So first, let's go ahead and talk about the gacha. So when it comes to the gacha in Black Beacon, I will say this game is extremely free-to-play friendly. Very free-to-play friendly game. I just logged into the game, but this game is so free-to-play friendly because the way that the gacha works is the fact that 50-50 doesn't exist in this game. It doesn't exist. And you guys know when it comes to 50-50, I am not a huge fan. When it comes to 50-50, it's just really annoying how, like, I spend all my resources on a character. I spend all my summons. I spend all these resources over here, and I don't even get the character that I want. I just lose the 50-50, and that's it. So I will say, the gacha is nice. The fact that it is 70-30, you have a higher chance of getting the limited character you want versus getting a standard character, which is really nice. And when it comes to the weapon banner, max pity is pretty much 50, right? That's the max, 50. And the fact that you can just use standard keys, you can use standard tickets to get all these 5-star weapons is absolutely amazing. And you can literally choose which weapon you want. It's so good, the fact that I can actually choose which weapon I want. So I will say when it comes to the gacha system, like this game has to be like one of the most free-to-play friendly gacha games I have ever seen so far. It is just so good. It's so good. Even the weapon banner for the limited 5-star character is still 50 pity, and it's guaranteed. Like, it's actually amazing how generous these devs are, especially when it comes to the gacha system. So yeah, overall, when it comes to the gacha, amazing. 70-30. I think, yeah, it's pretty much a 70-30, 70% chance of you getting the limited character you want, and there's a 30% chance of you losing that. And then if you lose that 70-30, the next time you summon or you reach max pity is going to be guaranteed. Now, another thing I also wanted to go through is the battle pass. So not only can you get the 5-star weapon you want for whichever character you want, not only can you get that through the gacha, you can also get it through the battle pass for free. You guys can see over here, when you reach level 15, you can literally get a free 5-star weapon, and you can choose which character, like which 5-star weapon you want for whichever character you're using. So let's say I want, Hefei's 5-star weapon. I can go ahead and select that when I get this chest. It's absolutely amazing. So the fact that they let you get a 5-star weapon and the battle pass, really good. And I'm pretty sure when you upgrade this and you get the high dimensional computation, you can get a 5-star weapon for a standard 5-star character. Because for the 5-star weapon, it's pretty much for the 4-star character. When you reach level 15, it's for a 4-star unit. But when you get the high dimensional computation, you get a 5-star weapon for a standard 5-star character, which is really nice. So I will say that right there is so generous, really good. And when it comes to these events over here, the fact that I can literally get a free weapon skin is really nice. Like, all I have to do is just simply try out this new skin, and I get the weapon skin. And then you can also max out the 4-star character, which is 0. You can max her out, and you can also get her skin, and you can get her 5-star weapon for free. And when it comes to Florence, they gave us her 5-star weapon for free. You can choose to get her 5-star weapon, or you can choose to save that free 5-star weapon event for Ching, who's going to be the next 5-star limited character. Or you can just pick whichever 5-star open you want for a 5-star standard character. It's just really good, man. It's really really good. So they gave us a whole lot of opportunities to, like, build up these 5-star units, build up these 4-star units. And when it comes to the gacha system, the weapons and etc., it's just really really generous overall. So when it comes to how the developers treat their players, I have no complaints at all when it comes to the gacha system. No complaints. 70/30, really good. A lot of free weapons, also nice as well. And you being able to select which 5-star character you want, 5-star standard character you want once you reach 30 pity when you first play the game is absolutely amazing. So overall, the gacha system, developers really really generous. Really, like, it's really hard to find a game where like these developers treat you well and they actually, like, give you the chance to invest in these characters properly. And the fact that they give us an opportunity to get their weapons for free, um even for the 4-star characters as well, is really really nice overall. So when it comes to the gacha, chef's kiss. Moving on, let's talk about combat. Now, I will say, when it comes to combat, the combat in this game, there is some like woo, like you have some woo in there, and you also have Genshin Impact as well, especially when it comes to the elemental anomaly system in this game. When you combine two elemental anomalies in this game, you get an overload reaction. So it's pretty similar to Genshin's elemental reaction system, but that's only one reaction, which is the overload reaction. Everything else after that, when you have like the light anomaly, I think it's called glaring, it's very similar to, like, I wouldn't say it's similar like spectral frazzle, but like there are some like woo combat styles in this game. Like, if you guys play this game, it's pretty similar to woo when it comes to you dodging. Like, if you do a perfect dodge, you can counter them by doing a perfect dodge, or when they're about to attack you, you pretty much hold heavy attack and you can counter them by doing that. There's some woo combat style in there. So I will say the combat in this game is fluid. It's nice. It's not, I wouldn't say is really unique, right? I wouldn't say it's really unique, but it's definitely fluid for sure. And when it comes to each character, like, it really depends on which character you're using. The difficulty for each character, I would say, like, there's not a single character in this game that is hard to use or hard to understand. They do have a tutorial feature where you can, like, test out the character, you can play with the character and understand how the character works. There's probably some secret tech that you don't know and you want to find out. Like, there's so many things you can do with these characters, which is really really cool overall. But if you are trying to understand like the basics for each unit, all you have to do is go through the tutorial, the trial, and they'll pretty much teach you how the character works. So yeah, I'll say overall, when it comes to combat, it's alright, it's cool, I like it. The elemental anomaly system, it's nice. I think it's cool. Overload, glaring, do freezing enemies. I think it's cool overall. So for combat, it's nice. Now let's talk about stamina. So when it comes to these action RPG games, these gacha action RPG games, stamina is really frustrating to a lot of people, including me. Like, not being able to grind 24/7, it is annoying. But I will say, in this game, the stamina system, it is annoying. And I'll say the reason why it's annoying right now is because, since we're in the early phase of the game, you pretty much want to build like a lot of characters, because we're just now getting into the game, so you don't really have a lot of units built. So I feel like once we like get past like the global launch phase, right, we get past the honeymoon phase, now you don't have to keep using stamina to build your characters, because now you can essentially save up your stamina, or you can use that stamina to grind materials for the next upcoming character. So I will say, as up to right now, it's the same with every action RPG gacha game. At first, stamina extremely annoying, but when time passes, when time goes on, throughout time, the more they drop updates, the more they drop characters, now you can essentially save your stamina up to grind for materials, grind for ancient marks, artifacts for the next upcoming unit you are saving up for. So I will say artifact, right? Not artifact, but the stamina system right now is annoying, and hopefully later on in the future they do give us more stamina, in events, or they can give us more stamina through the mail. I don't know, but give us more stamina, and that's pretty much it. Now, when it comes to content, all right. So when it comes to content, we have to head back on over to the game over here. What's up, Florence? How you doing, girl? So when it comes to content in Black Beacon, now, of course, you have the story. I didn't complete the story yet. I'm still in chapter 6. But of course, you have the main story. You have the side story. You can play it in hard mode. So if I come over here, you guys can see there's a hard mode, which is really nice. So, once you complete the normal mode, you can play the hard mode of the story, and you also have the side story as well, which is really cool. Now, of course, you have resources. Yeah, you want to get resources to level up your skills, level up the character, their weapon, etc. Now, of course, you have this mode over here called Infinite Multiverse. Now, Infinite Multiverse is essentially the in-game content for this game. It's very similar to Spiral Abyss and Tower of Adversity. Now, you guys can see over here, it's like you can essentially select like 2 teams. You can build 2 teams, and then you can clear Deep Zone 1 and clear Deep Zone 2, right? So it's really similar to TOA, to be honest. It really is. You have like certain buffs. Like if I come over here and click environment details, it says grants 15% bonus derived damage with an additional 15 damage, 50% damage bonus against enemies afflicted with burn. This is pretty much for Florence. They always make these buffs revolve around these, featured limited 5-star characters. It happens all the time. For Deep Zone 2, it says whenever the frontline character is healed 10 times, deals 1,500% light type damage to enemies. So, they're going to give buffs for you. They're going to give you buffs. But this is pretty much the in-game content. And when you, like, get these stars, you're pretty much going to get this currency over here called Scar of Infinity. And you can come to the store, and you can use this Scar of Infinity to essentially get a 5-star weapon, which is really good. Now, I think you can only get, like, 1, because it says permanent limit. So you can only get 1 of each 5-star weapon for each character. But the fact that, they give you like another opportunity to get another 5-star weapon by just simply going through in-game content is just really, really nice. Like, they're actually rewarding you for going through, what is it called again? What is it called? Infinite Multiverse. Yes, they're actually rewarding you for playing Infinite Multiverse, right? And I think that's really nice, because one of the main things these gacha games are missing is the fact that, when you go through in-game content, all you're getting is summon currency. You're just pretty much getting currency to summon for characters, and that's pretty much it. But for this game, it's like, not only am I clearing Infinite Multiverse to get summons, to get some summon currency, I'm clearing Infinite Multiverse to also get these 5-star weapons in the store, which is really, really good. So they're pretty much like, innovating. They're trying to find different ways to pretty much reward people for playing in-game content, which is really good overall. Now, I hope later on in the future they add more game modes, because we do have Infinite Multiverse over here. Tomb of Fate is you essentially grinding for like artifacts for your characters. We're going to talk about the artifact system after this point over here, but Tomb of Fate also in-game content. You're pretty much grinding this to build your characters, which is really good. And then of course we also have bosses, right? Let's talk about these bosses. So if I come over here to we come over here to EX, right? And I click brute force mode. You also have this over here, which is really nice. It's not bad. You have a ranking system like a leaderboard. Like if whoever clears this, I think there's a mode where like whoever clears a specific content like the fastest, you're going to be on the leaderboard, which is really good. But you guys can see they do have bosses here, which is really nice. So you can fight, these bosses and, challenge yourself. You can increase the difficulty, which is just good overall. I'm pretty sure I fought this boss over here, Darius. Yeah, I fought this guy. And you guys can see there is a leaderboard. Yeah, there is a leaderboard. You can literally like, test to see, like test your skills to see if you can beat this boss really, really fast. And you can like see if you can be on the leaderboard. I think it's top 100. Let's see if it's top 100. Yeah, it's definitely top 100. Yeah. So, it's a top 100 leaderboard, which is really good overall. So, yeah, like when it comes to, in-game content in Black Beacon, there's like a lot of things going on. You got bosses to fight. You got this whole leaderboard ranking system. You can challenge yourself. You also have Infinite Multiverse, where you can get a free 5-star weapon if you clear content through here. You got Tomb of Fate to grind and build your characters. There's a decent amount of content when it comes to in-game content. But of course, throughout time, it's gonna dry out, because we're going to be doing the same thing over and over again. So hopefully later on in the future, when people start to get bored, they add more content. But as of to right now, this is perfectly fine. This is fine. I'm satisfied with the amount of content we have, in-game content we have as of to right now. Now, when it comes to the artifact system, ancient mark. So, dude, guys, the ancient mark system has to be like the most unique thing I've ever seen in a gacha game so far. The artifact system in this game is absolutely goated. It is such a W, the fact that I can pick my own substats for each artifact piece. It's so good. Like, when it comes to RNG, of course, there's some RNG when it comes to the artifact system in this game. When it comes to main stats, that's definitely RNG. But that's the only thing. Like, that's the only thing that's RNG. And after that, you can pretty much select your own substats. So let me go ahead and show you guys real quick. So when I come over here to my character, you have this thing called Ancient Mark. This is pretty much your build, your artifact category. So if I click this over here, all right, so you guys can see Pierce, all right. I want to get a lot of Pierce on my Florence, right, because Pierce is good on her. So this is pretty much the main stat. Now, the way that you level up these artifact pieces in this game is you essentially add substats to that piece, and as you leveling it up, you can only add 2 substats. You can only add 2 substats, because for this one there's like 1 substat. So yeah, you can add substats to this, and you can add it up to 2 times. So right over here, this is 1 time, and then after that it's going to be another time, and that's pretty much it. Once you see that it's gold means that it's maxed out. So the way that this works is you have these different artifact pieces, and they're part of like different I would say like different classes, different types. You have Winding Path, you have Original Text, you also have Thread Mark. So if you have an artifact piece that's part of the same artifact type, I'm going to say artifact type, if you have like the same type of that artifact piece that you want to level up, you can choose which substat you want, and you can put it on that artifact piece. It might sound confusing, but it's pretty simple. So let's say for this piece over here, right, Thread Mark, okay, when I click level up, you guys are going to see that they're going to pretty much let me use another Thread Mark piece. But when I click select over here, right, I click select, boom. Now look, I have attack and darkness damage boost. Attack is like the main stat for this piece over here, and then when I click this, boom, darkness damage boost. It's so good, man. It's so good how I can essentially select my own substat for every single piece. It's just really, really amazing. Now of course, like, if you're trying to like level it up, you do need the same artifact type in order for you to level it up. So some RNG might come into that, but if I have let's say I want to put crit damage on my Florence, right? If I want to put crit damage on her, I can go ahead and try to find it. Let's see. Okay, we got crit rate right here. I can select crit rate, boom, select it, and now look, now it has Pierce, crit rate, and fire damage boost. Before it was Pierce and fire damage boost, and now I can pretty much add crit rate to it, which is nice. So yeah, when it comes to the artifact system in this game, absolutely god tier artifact system. They literally recommend you like which build is good for that character. There probably is like multiple builds for that unit, but they recommend you, they pretty much show you like best stats for that character, what you should equip on that character. If I click equip now, it says Ancient Mark recommended, like which build you should go for, and recommended Ancient Mark stats, which is very, very nice. You don't have to wait 10 days, 20 days for them to recommend you which stats you need on that character in order for that character to work. They just give it to you right off the bat, which is really good overall. So yeah, overall artifact system in this game, absolutely god tier compared to these other gacha games where you're literally grinding for like months, even years, and you still can't get that god tier artifact piece. It's so damn annoying. But in this game, artifact grinding is literally like goated. Is it like the artifact grinding in this game is so goated? Of course you have to use stamina. You have to use stamina to grind for artifacts, of course, but I forgot to include this part over here. When you're grinding for artifacts, right, I come over here. When you're grinding for artifacts in Tomb of Fate, there is a store over here. There's a store, and you can essentially buy these pieces over here, and all you need is Seal of Fate, and it's pretty easy to get that. You just go through Tomb of Fate, you get the Seal of Fate, and then you can just buy these in the store. You need to buy these in order for you to put these on your character, right? And it's only going to cost 300, which is, it's easy to get. So they give you a lot of Tomb of Seal of Fates, by the way. They give you a lot of Seal of Fates, and this is where the RNG comes in. Like, you pretty much like buy this, and it's going to give you defense, attack, crit rate, crit damage. It really depends. So that's the only RNG part. But after that, when it comes to substats, you selecting your stats, there's no RNG because you can pick which stats you want on that beat. Now let's go ahead and talk about the performance for this game. So one of the main complaints a lot of people had for Black Beacon is the performance, and I will say the game is definitely poorly optimized. The game is poorly optimized because it doesn't have a PC client, which is very unfortunate. So hopefully, they do plan on releasing a PC client for Black Beacon, because if they actually do end up releasing a PC client for this game, I feel like a lot of people are actually going to check out the game and actually play the game. But the fact that there is no PC client, a lot of people are not going to play the game because, it's just too many problems, a lot of lagging, and, it's just annoying. And I will say, when it comes to, lagging, people not being able to log in, it is annoying for sure. So when it comes to the performance of Black Beacon, it is definitely a buggy game. For me, I'll say my experience with the game, my only complaint is whenever I log out the game, when I exit the game, my computer, like my PC, just gets fucked up. Like, it just gets fucked up, it gets laggy, it's just annoying as hell. It happens every single time. So if you're playing on PC, you can play it on Google Play Beta, but it's still not the best on Google Play Beta. It doesn't even work on emulator, it doesn't even work on BlueStack. So yeah, that is a huge problem for sure. They need to come with they need to release a PC client for this game so that people can actually play the game and enjoy the game without all these bugs. So when it comes to performance, I'll say performance for this game really, really bad. For me, it's not bad right now, but for a lot of people, it is really, really bad. So they definitely need to fix that. Now, is this a side game or a main game? Now, I will say, for me, I feel like this is a side game. Yeah, I feel like this game is a side game because whenever you feel like you can't progress, like if you feel like you can't grind because of stamina, it is definitely a side game. I feel like for this game, once you complete the story, all you're pretty much doing is building up these characters, and you're going through infinite multiverses, right? Or you're going through these bosses, you're fighting these bosses, you're pretty much trying to make it up the leaderboard, the ranking system. That's pretty much the in-game content for this game. So I will say this is definitely a side game, but it is a good side game. Really, really good side game, and hopefully that lasts for a very long time. Hopefully there's actually longevity for this game, because one of my main complaints when it comes to ARPGs is the fact that there is no longevity, and it gets really boring over time. So hopefully for this game, it doesn't get boring over time, and that's why I say, like, hopefully they release more content throughout the line. They release more content, and they don't just say, all right guys, here's your infinite multiverse, here's your boss, and that's it. We're not going to release more content, and if you want more content, it's going to take months or even a year. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but as of to right now, it definitely feels like a side game, and I think that's fine. If it's a side game, it gives me time to cover other games, because I am a content creator, so it gives me time to cover other games, which is really good overall. It doesn't consume my time, and yeah, I think that's nice. If you're not a content creator, and if you wanted this to be a main game, you can try to make it your main game, but because of the stamina system, I feel like making this your main game is just not possible, unless like you're just grinding bosses and you're trying to make it first place. What I'm saying? You're trying to make it first place in the boss mode. But other than that, I feel like it's a side game. Now, when it comes to my overall rating for Black Beacon, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. For a side game, the game is actually pretty good. It's not too time consuming. When I'm playing the game, it doesn't take hours for me to what I got to do. Like, it doesn't take a full hour or 3 hours or 4 hours to get the job done. I just get into the game, do what I got to do, and I hop out. I jump out the game, exit the game, and continue playing other games. It's really nice. Like, the way that the game works is just really cool. Combat is fluid. There are some issues, of course. PC client needs to come soon, but we got good content in the game. You can skip the story if you're not interested, which is good. You can also speed up the story. And I also wanted to talk about the fact that they do have black characters in this game. Yes, they do have black characters in this game, and as a black person myself, I really appreciate that, man, because when it comes to these gacha games, it's really hard, it's really rare to find black characters in these games, which kind of sucks, to be honest. But we got 3 black characters in the game so far. We got Inky, we also have Ninsar, and Nana the Goat, which is really nice. Hopefully, later on in the future, they implement more black characters, but as up to right now, this is really, really good. And this game definitely gives me like Egyptian culture, Greek culture, I don't know, Greek mythology, something like that. But it's pretty obvious that this game has multiple, like, this game has cultural references, like pretty similar to Reverse 1999, where they're inspired by different cultures, and this game properly represents it because some of these characters are named after gods and goddesses. So I think it's really cool the fact that this game is doing that, implementing different cultures in the game. It's really cool overall. So I like that. Just wanted to point that out. But yeah, it's pretty much my analysis when it comes to Black Beacon, and that's how I feel about the game, guys. I'm feeling really good about the game. Besides the performance issues, the game is actually pretty good overall. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, how you guys feel about the game. Do you dislike the game? Are you enjoying the game? Or are you, feeling, iffy about the game? Or you can't play the game because the game has all these issues? Let me know how you guys feel. But hope you guys enjoyed my video on, Black Beacon, how I feel about the game. And I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Adios.